Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So this is a video going to be about the Blankos Block Party Marketplace, which went live last week. I guess as people may have expected, I've been spending quite a bit of time kind of just trying to get a grip on sort of what's going on. And a bit of kind of data to come back on. I wouldn't say any great conclusions at the moment. Should point out the marketplace is really only, well, it is only in alpha, so it's an email. You have to have had a kind of email to say you're on the alpha. Not quite sure what the criteria is for that, but it seems to be a fairly small group at the moment, and obviously that will roll out over time. But at the moment, I would say probably there's more supply in terms of there's more people trying to sell Blankos than there is demand, because obviously people who've signed up to the people who are now in this kind of marketplace are people who are pretty committed and have been kind of into the game for a long time, and probably have most of the Blankos that they would want, and I'll probably have more Blankos than they probably bought some extra ones to sell. Let's put it that way. So we probably you know, we're not in a very we're not really in a strong liquidity environment, as we might say from a kind of financial point of view. But there is trading going on, so we can actually have a look here, and we can see on the dashboard we can see the top trending items. So these are the Blankos that are selling when it loads. And we can see here the latest trade. So some of these are accessories. So it looks like some Bite Me Billy wings have sold, a Frostbite beanie hat. But we have some Blankos as well. So Frostbite, one of the more rare ones, has just sold for 250. One of those has sold. Boss Dino, Fathoms, Dazzle. We can see these ones kind of sales happening. So there is something going on there. You know, it's fairly, you know, this is all in the last hour. Someone's come in and bought some stuff up. So this is the kind of the data that we have. There are 39 individual Blankos that are listed from various prices, sort of ranging from you know, kind of $30 up to the moment we have the most expensive one is $10 million for a very rare Billy Six Bones. Although we also have the one-off golden ticket, only one of those, no price there. Don't quite know what's going on. Probably the person who owns that maybe isn't on the alpha, I guess. So I'm just going to switch over to look at some numbers on a spreadsheet. Okay, one of my jolly spreadsheets is starting to take shape. So here, these are all the different Blankos. There are some variations of certain types. So Billy Bones, there's actually 5 different versions of Billy Bones, for example. And I'm just tracking the price manually. Yeah, so that's wrong. Okay. So I'm just tracking the price of everything. You can see here, you know, the prices of most of them, as I say, are kind of in the kind of below $50. Most of these Blankos were, if they were bought, they were acquired for $10. $10 was the basic price. Some went for $20. Some of them, the more expensive ones, were ones that are sort of giveaway ones, or ones that you sort of earn by doing stuff in the game. So those tend to be the more expensive ones. But most of them are, yeah, about sort of $20, $25, $30, $40. We can look at that, what's been happening in a bit more detail there. So we can see here, if you want to buy all the Blankos, kind of what that number is. I mean, it's a slightly ridiculous number because someone's just changed the Billy Six Bones from 1.5 million to $10 million. So that's prices that's just gone up. So I've kind of here with this number here, I've stripped out the expensive ones. So there are some that are kind of priced at what I consider slightly ridiculous levels. This is because there's only one of these being sold in the sequence. So some of these, you know, there's not very many of them, and obviously a lot of people aren't on the alpha. So the prices are probably, generally I would say the prices are at one level kind of too high for many of these rare ones. Because just the people who have them, people who own those NFTs aren't on the alpha, and obviously as more supply comes in, then people are going to drop the price. But if we get rid of those ones, we can see if you want to basically buy all the Blankos that are not ridiculously priced, you're currently looking at sort of started off at $21,400 down to about $12,430. So that's if you're basically buying up all kind of everything that isn't ridiculously priced. So it gives you sort of a rough idea of what's going on. There is still quite a lot of variation in pricing, which is I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's easy to say these things are not well priced at the moment because we know we're not in equilibrium in terms of supply and demand. here's an interesting one here. So basically, what I've done here is I've taken 5 different Blankos. So these are 5 Blankos that were in what we call the private beta. So all the Blankos are released sort of in different kind of seasons. You can kind of think of it as different stages of the game's development, and there's kind of rarity based on those. So I've chosen these 5 because they're kind of good. They were fairly early on. They all were priced at $10 to buy them. And so we get sort of some idea of kind of the markup that's been happening here. So first graph we have here, I've just taken all these. So this is the prices of all these ones that are available. So there are 46 Billy Bones currently available, 38 El Chablanco, 40 Maxi Mouse, 38 Peanuts, and 35 Space Girls. Just to get an idea of sort of how the breakdown is. So this is the percentage of these Blankos that are priced $50 or lower. So 20% of the Billy Bones Blankos currently on sale are $50 or over. 16% of the El Char Blankos, 23% of the Maxi Mouse, 13% of the Peanuts, and 20% of the Space Girls. And there's roughly sort of the same amount of these available. It's a little bit there's more available than others in terms of the overall supply, but they're broadly similar. And this is a way of just I've just plotted out what's going on here. So you can kind of see, roughly the cheapest prices here are 40, 36, 33, 39, and 38. So roughly around the same, broadly speaking. And we can see, there's not really a lot of variation between them. There's no reason why any that are sort of more valuable than others. I don't really think. I think there's some aesthetic views here. These are all pretty nice ones, actually. They're good designs, I think. Billy Bones, perhaps the most kind of signature sort of design. He's been used. Billy Bones has been used a lot in the kind of publicity for Blankos. We can see here, typical sort of pricing. So we have some straight lines here around certain pricing. So $50. Lots of things tend to be priced at $50. What we might call psychological anchor pricing. People just like $50, $100. Not so much at $1,000. Interestingly, a few at $1,000. We have some of these actually. People pricing at $100 and $1,337, the elite sort of thing, and actually these two are actually the serial number is actually elite for these ones. I don't quite know. This serial number is actually 2,337, so sort of weird pricing on that one. But we have some sort of signature pricing going on. But then we have these crazy things, like right at the end here, we have certain individuals just going a bit crazy. So the pricing's, we could argue, whether it's exactly correct or not, but kind of reasonable sort of distribution. Some people obviously have loads of these things and bought like I've seen people buying kind of eight or so of these. So obviously people are buying these to sell, and they're putting them at different pricing, like putting it in an order book for crypto, I suppose. So if you want to sell them, you put them here. If you kind of think over time, you're going to get like sort of 10 times what you paid for them. Then you have a distribution over here. That's what we expected. And then some people just going completely balmy in one view, and you've got $65,000, $55,000, $50,000. Not so much on Billy Bones actually. Interestingly, there's no really expensive ones there. Nothing more than $4,700. Although for something that cost you $10, that's pretty expensive. Obviously, there is pricing again around serial numbers. So we'll look at that in a different graph as well. But we just kind of see here. I mean, you could think this is crazy, but equally, if you've got 10 Billy Bones, why not put one at some ridiculous figure? Someone might come in and buy it. You're only losing the kind of opportunity cost of selling it at a lower level, I suppose. And if you've got already some other ones at lower level, then maybe you're not losing anything, really. So we can have a look at the actual kind of data here. So this is all that data on a single graph. So we can see here these 3 very expensive ones. So let's sort of do a bit of editing and get rid of those. So this is on a no, it's not. I'm going to say let's get rid of those. Let's put a maximum value in of 10,000. So they'll just kind of take out some of the more expensive ones. So now we can kind of start to see a little bit more what's going on, and we can see. Let's click that off. So we can get. So this is the serial number down the bottom. And this is the pricing on the top. So we would kind of expect logically that we kind of see the more expensive ones tend to be low serial numbers. So there's no 1 serial numbers here. So we can see here the lowest serial number is that we have a serial number 2 Billy Bones being sold for $2,000. That doesn't seem ridiculous to me. Although I think really, I'm not quite sure why 2 would be really much more expensive than 3 or 6 or 55. Serial number 1, clearly serial number 1, that's the first one. Serial number 2 is close to 1, but it's not 1. So anyway, that's another discussion. So we can kind of see here there's kind of a clustering around here, and then we have some sort of weird other kind of interests. So what I've tried to do here is, if I think people have sort of, so if we have consecutive serial numbers, then obviously that may be a coincidence, or that may be, in some cases, like here you can see this is 5 consecutive El Blankos is what I'm looking at here. So there's someone that's probably, I imagine, bought a whole bunch of consecutive El Blankos, and they're setting them at different price points. So this is kind of, you kind of see this. It's kind of interesting psychologically, I suppose, that they've done that. It's not a great kind of spectrum of selling price here. You think if you're going to kind of sell these up, you might put some a bit low and some a bit higher, but they sort of put them all around the same. But you can kind of see, in general, the curve kind of starts high here and sort of fades away, although there is some sort of spottiness going on. We can see here, we can see the elite. So we have a Space Girl, and there's another one down here, I think. Oh, that's gone. But anyway, over time you can kind of see, and then there's I think there's a few more Billy Bones out. So only Billy Bones has more than is priced at more than, the serial numbers are higher than 4,000. And we can see these kind of slightly ridiculous ones. Again, this one, not quite sure why they think they can get away with that, but who knows. We have a range of stuff going on here, but most of the activities down there. Look, just have a quick look. Let's stick it into log scale, just so we can kind of break it up a little bit, so we can kind of get a better idea. So we can see here, there's a whole bunch of stuff under $50. So this is kind of where people are buying into this kind of area here, and then it is sort of interesting that there is this sort of weird selection here. So these are not anywhere low serial numbers, but they are kind of quite high prices. So this is just sort of random kind of noise that people have put in there. But we can kind of see sort of clusters around it, as you get closer to this axis, as you get closer to serial number 1, then there is sort of, generally you can kind of see there's some sort of kind of increase in value here, which is a bit more structured than just this sort of random kind of noise which we have there. So anyway, I wouldn't say any great conclusions to be drawn really from this at the moment. But interesting to have a look at. I'm trying to find my other. Oh, because okay, so there are 2 there, but they're both on the same spot. They're not one. There's a Space Girl and an El Blanco, both on that spot, and it doesn't kind of show there's 2 there. That's the reason that is there. So anyway, keep an eye on this. I think as the marketplace sort of goes live, I think that'll be the interesting thing to see how when basically people who are coming into Blankos, who haven't played it before, haven't had the ability to buy any of these Blankos, when they start coming in. So what are they going to do? Are they just going to sort of buy everything up? I guess we've kind of seen this before with I've seen it before with NBA Top Shot, where basically there wasn't much liquidity, and then suddenly 100,000 people piled in, and the prices went through the roof, and then came back down again. So there is no equilibrium really, particularly while things are growing. Obviously, if more people come in, then the prices of these are going to go up, and maybe some of these kind of pricing decisions here won't look so stupid. But that will be the interesting thing. At least we have a kind of comparison point to where these things are at the moment. So anyway, yes, thanks for watching the video. This is Blockchain Gaming World, particularly into Blankos at the moment, just because there's a lot of stuff going on there, and we expect more announcements in the near future. So please subscribe to the channel if you're interested in this sort of stuff. But thanks for watching, and see you again soon.